Welcome back to Primetime News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com.
A reminder as well that you can watch TVJ live by downloading our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the word Spot and Media.
There was pandemonium in Spanish Town, St. Catherine today as police and gunmen traded bullets following a fatal shooting along Jones Avenue and Rivoli. The deceased man is said to be a relative of the leader of the notorious Klansman gang. Police have not released his identity.
The mid-afternoon incident resulted in protests, with some residents blocking sections of the Spanish Town bypass and Greendale Road.
The roadblocks have since been cleared. There were also disruptions at St. Jago High School, where fleeing gunmen ran onto the school compound. TVJ's Janella Pursues reports.
Emergency plan activated. You're watching students from the St. Jago High School who are converged inside the institution's auditorium. It's a plan that the staff and students practiced from time to time, but no one ever imagined that it would have had to be put to use.
Students were doing physical education on the field, heard the gunshots, saw some men barge onto the school compound from 2 different directions. So they informed the office. We activated the plan immediately, called the police who came on spot.
As guns barked on the outside, for the most part, the students remained calm, but many parents were on edge.
A parent of Jason Marshall, he called me to say that they have been uproar down the school. They have been a what? Uproar down the school. So he's called me to say that if he don't hear from him, and possibly him could get shot. So he's calling to let me know what's happening. So I'm coming down to school now to see what's happening.
The school is located in Rivoli, an area prone to violent flare-ups. TVJ News understands that it's not the first time gunmen have invaded the premises, but securing the school has been a long-time problem.
There is hardly any fence anywhere. It is low, very low, and so we are so vulnerable in this area. The students are contained in the auditorium and to the right of the auditorium, because to the left of the auditorium is where we would have the low fencing, and as a result of that, anything can happen on that side of the school. The police came, they looked, and they were pleased with what we had done in ensuring the children's safety and the staff.
Yes, something was indeed happening around the compound, which is now under control because we have both the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Jamaica Defence Force in the area, and so far things are under control. And the school population, as I said before, is safe at this time.
Meanwhile, the security forces swarmed the Spanish Town bus park, Rivoli and Jones Avenue, where they conducted random searches. Our news center understands several men who were wanted for serious crimes were nabbed during the operations. Janella Pursues, TVJ News.
Police and soldiers operating in the state of public emergency in St. James carried out a raid at the Charles Gordon Market in Montego Bay. The security forces were in search of wanted men and illegal guns. TVJ's Lonagay Franklin reports.
Vendors say the security forces invaded the market from as early as 3 a.m. on Thursday, combing through stall by stall, removing persons who usually sell their produce on the street to inside the market. Most vendors say they welcome the security forces, although their presence is causing a downturn in sales.
Since the state of emergency, nothing now go on. Everything just dead. Nobody now come by nothing. Everything just they pile up everybody. Body and not jaw look. That's what I think said. But I'm glad to see them in place still.
The system all do me I tell you. When we look on the road, we make more money still. But I know some people now really come in the market still come by now. But as me I tell you, the thing sticky still. We have to just work with it still.
Slow, but me still there. Because I'm a duty for the year. And they don't give me no problem.
I prefer life more than money, you know. So, them have to do what them have to do. So, I don't have no problem with them on the road. Because them have to do what them have to do.
This vendor has, however, taken issue with how the state of emergency was announced.
This is the wrong way. How can you let the criminal go by announce it before you reach to them? Yeah? What type of rubbish that is? I would charge not even the government alone, but all the ministers them that in the house.
He says the residents should have been a part of the decision making.
Them so big and they feel themselves so powerful that they know everything and they know nothing.
Lonagay Franklin, TVJ News.
The body of a teenager was found at her home in Bushy Park, Clarendon this morning with multiple stab wounds. As TVJ's Shamela Mitchell now reports, the news has plunged the entire Clarendon College family, where the teen was a student, into mourning.
This is the video 18-year-old Abvinash Gordon from Bushy Park Housing Scheme in Mapen, Clarendon posted a few hours before her death. The first part of the video showed Miss Gordon on Wednesday with friends from Clarendon College where she attends school. However, the second part of the video showed Miss Gordon in another setting, this time by herself, lip-syncing one local artist's song, "No Them Can't Trick Me and Kill Me." Ironically, she was killed sometime after making that post. At the break of day on Thursday, a grieving crowd converged at her home while investigators combed the area. The police say the teenager was at home with two other girls. The girls, who were in a separate room, reported hearing strange sounds, followed by screams coming from Miss Gordon's room sometime after 2 this morning. The police were called and Miss Gordon's body was found in her home with stab wounds.
My heart goes out for the family who are mourning this young girl today. I've learned that she's a very young girl, just finished school and on her way to university. And the enemy have come and snatched her life away, her future, her destiny, and her purpose. And it's so saddening, you know. It's saddening when you have to console a mother who lost a child.
Guidance counselor Rosemary Thompson Tucker says students have been in a somber mood since hearing of the incident.
I know that they are very sad at this moment, but I say to them, if they must mourn, then mourn. We will be providing support for them. We will be calling to Region 6 for the trauma team to come out to assist us with counseling with them. But if they must cry, then they should go ahead and cry.
Meanwhile, the principal at the school, David Wilson, is calling for communities to do more to protect young people.
We want to speak to the varying communities from which our students come and to ask that each person gives a caring hand, a supporting hand to ensure that our children are protected, that at every level, whether they're first formers or sixth formers, each person is looking out for the Jamaican child. You know, we have come into a situation where we say it takes a village to raise a child, and we're not certain to what extent everybody sees it as important. So we want to encourage that kind of tendency continues.
Shamela Mitchell, TVJ News.
Daniel Spencer, the father of former Member of Parliament for St. Elizabeth North Eastern, Kern Spencer, was shot at his house.
Persistent in these measures. These are not short-term measures.
Mr. Holness adds that the security forces will be stepping up efforts to target the facilitators of crime.
We should never believe that the street-level criminals operate on their own. They are financed. They use our banking network. They are well connected. They use our telecommunications infrastructure. They have good transportation. They use our roads. They buy our cars. And they use them in the commission of crimes.
The Prime Minister was addressing the Regional Investments and Capital Markets Conference hosted by the Jamaica Stock Exchange yesterday.
A top story today, pandemonium in the old capital as police and gunmen trade bullets. And still ahead tonight, Prime Minister Andrew Holness touts future benefits of current crime-fighting plans. And in business news, NCB reports continued strong profit growth. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Continuing the news, a Jamaican fugitive who eluded U.S. law enforcement for more than 13 years was remanded when he appeared before the St. Andrew Parish Court this morning. 48-year-old Davy Scott, otherwise called DJ Tallman, was arrested on an extradition warrant on Tuesday. He was nabbed in Portmore St. Catherine. The case was put off until February 1 for the Director of Public Prosecutions to make full disclosure of the allegations Scott is facing. According to the New York Times, Scott is wanted to stand trial for possession of a controlled and dangerous substance, causing bodily injury to an officer and making a false statement to an officer. U.S. authorities say Scott tried to sell more than 25 pounds of ganja to an undercover cop in New Jersey in 2001. He also struck the cop with his vehicle while trying to flee. Scott skipped bail in 2004 and later fled to Jamaica. He is being represented by attorneys Tom Tavares Finson and Donahue Martin Jr.
Go after the facilitators in the uptown communities. That's a call from the Director of the National Integrity Action, NIA, Dr. Trevor Monroe, as he renewed his call for the government to tackle corruption. Mr. Monroe says corruption is contributing to Jamaica's crime problem. TVJ's Anthony Lugg reports.
Addressing the Rotary Club of Kingston on Thursday, Executive Director of the National Integrity Action, Dr. Trevor Monroe, commended the efforts of the government in its attempt to cauterize crime in the parish of St. James. However, Dr. Monroe warned that the authorities move quickly to implement the Oversight Committee to ensure there is no recurrence of the events which played out in the 2010 state of emergency. But amidst those concerns, Dr. Monroe continues to urge the government to quickly tackle what he refers to as the twin demons, corruption and violent crimes.
They must also go after the facilitators in the uptown communities. There must be one law for the citizens of Flankers and for the citizens of Cherry Garden. And 119 guns that you and I saw in the newspapers, a conservative estimate, 12 million Jamaican dollars. That's not a 15-year-old youngster in Flankers funding that, or in Salt Spring.
Dr. Monroe added that the guidelines are outlined in the National Security Policy.
Some of those who profit from crime appear to be respectable citizens. Lawyers, accountants, politicians, bankers, and real estate brokers who assist the criminals by protecting them, laundering proceeds of crime, establishing front businesses to conceal illegal activity.
And while he issued that suggestion for the facilitators, he believes the issue of corruption within the security forces needs to be addressed urgently.
What is peculiar to Jamaica is not the facilitators who are respectable. What is peculiar is the extent to which these facilitators here enjoy relative impunity and appear to be beyond the reach of the law.
Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.
There's a new development in a TVJ Primetime News exclusive we aired last week. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency is now investigating reports that 5 of 6 children featured in our Living in Poverty series were taken from their paternal grandmother. After the story was aired on TVJ, a judge granted the maternal grandparents custody of the children. TVJ's Shamela Mitchell reports.
Worry and fear obvious on the face of 49-year-old Matilda Edmondson. Miss Edmondson is the St. Thomas woman who was not afraid to share her story about her ordeals living in extreme poverty with 6 children and 2 adults, all in a 1-bedroom house in the small community of Johnstown. Miss Edmondson also explained to us that the situation was so bad that not even breakfast she could afford for the children who are aged 1 to 9. Her common-law husband, the breadwinner, had to stop working. Her son now tries his best to provide for the family against severe odds. When TVJ News visited Miss Edmondson for a second time, we saw only one of the 6 grandchildren. Since TVJ News carried the story, the other 5 have been taken from her by their other grandmother.
The grandmother sent for them on Saturday, so then go and go to a party, and Francis sent for them, so then go and go party. Until now, I don't see them again. Only to find this morning the grandmother call me, tell me that she's not going to give me the children them. So she come for them birth paper.
On Thursday, Miss Edmondson said she received a telephone call from the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, St. Thomas office, to attend court. When she got there, the maternal grandparents were present. The maternal grandparents were granted custody of the children by a judge. They will have the children for at least 3 months until Miss Edmondson can provide a suitable environment for the children to live. Miss Edmondson says she's depressed.
My hard labor not going down the drain like that. Are mine as well.
When TVJ News spoke to Miss Edmondson, she said she could not work because she has to care for the children. But now that the children are no longer with her, what's next?
If it's even to sell back juice, as I told you already, and if I don't sell the back juice, I will start farming.
Meanwhile, the Child Protection and Family Services Agency says placing the children on an interim order is the most suitable arrangement at this time until Miss Edmondson's situation has improved. Shamala Mitchell, TVJ News.
As environmentalists continue to lobby for more protection of the island's coastline, this evening our reporter Krista Campbell highlights the efforts of fisherfolk at one beach in St. Catherine to beautify and protect their environment. More in this report.
When people didn't see what I'm doing, they thought I was a madman because only madman clean garbage.
Cleveland Black, more popularly known as Ja at the Old Harbor Bay Fishing Beach in St. Catherine, relaying his experience in transforming garbage heaps at the beach into what he now calls a stress-free paradise. He said he started his garbage mission on his 34th birthday in 2007 and to date has turned 6 dump sites on the beach into gardens.
Net and sticks, plant flowers which goat do not eat, till I extend it and put long-term crop. I bring them from garbage to paradise, where we used to can't even catch a breath, with maggot growing. I bring it to dining hall and kitchen and plantation. I have ackee bearing. It's 11 years I've been doing this. Banana, plum for the children, coconut, flowers.
But he points out it has not been easy, hence the name Stress-Free Paradise.
Where I just clean, they used to throw more garbage. That's why I get from mess. And when I clean the mess, they stress me by throwing more. Well, I still take the stress and take it to the best.
Sutania Beckford, who operates businesses at the Old Harbor Bay Beach, says she's playing her part by ensuring her garbage and those generated by her customers are properly disposed of. But she notes that sometimes there's resistance.
Every morning I come, I rake and I bag my garbage into the... Well, I walk and I beg and I buy the rice bags. So what I do, we dispose of the garbage.
She says a man called Josie also cleans the beach regularly, but infrequently collected garbage presents a challenge.
They will come out the road, to the after course because they said they pay to collect their garbage. They pay privately. So what we will do, we will ask one of the guys on the beach to meet the truck there and we dispose of our garbage. Not so long ago, we killed 2 rats and garbage breed rats. Those are things that will cause people not to come.
So me just go get 2 fish, I go roast it, put on my fire. Them are walking in a gold mine like mud out, like a mud pit. Most of those people you see occupy the market, vendors, they out here more than they at their home. Them out from 6 to 6. So if you're not cleaning where you dwell mostly, you're going to have germs in your stomach.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
Kingston Wharves Limited, KWL, officially opened its total logistics facility on Thursday in what is being described as a first tangible step in utilizing Jamaica's location in the global logistics industry. With the opening, the Port Authority of Jamaica and Kingston Wharves are also citing economic growth, employment and even housing opportunities in the years to come. Here's TVJ's Herman Green.
Successive governments have been touting Jamaica's logistics potential for several years, but Thursday's launch of the KWL logistics facility is being lauded as the most tangible move to date. For Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who officially declared the facility open, one critical requirement for Jamaica to realize its role in the logistics arena is for the port at Kingston Wharves to be upgraded and revitalize its functionality.
But that revitalization is happening right before our eyes. And what Kingston Wharves has done with this building is an important part of that transformation. So the demand is there, but the critical wherewithal is also there in our private sector and with the government.
For the Port Authority of Jamaica CEO, Professor Gordon Shirley, the new facility is just the beginning of the vision for the sector and the ports.
When we begin to address the problems in the Newport area, when we have this entire area operating as one secure environment, when we introduce new business processes which make the seamless move between the ports and our logistic facilities and back, I think we will, at that point, be in a position to say that we are going to compete on a genuinely international basis.
CEO of Kingston Wharves, Grantley Stevenson, says some $4 billion in infrastructural improvements have been invested over the past few years. Work is also being done for a global auto logistics center, which will see Jamaica exporting pre-owned vehicles across the region.
Kingston Wharves currently provides motor vehicle transshipment to 23 regional markets, and we expect to be adding to this later this year. And in fact, just today, we have been discussing and negotiating another contract for Tinson, which will involve adding value to the cars.
This includes converting left-hand drive vehicles to right-hand drive, installing air conditioning, changing seats, among other services, which should provide hundreds of jobs. There are also plans for revamping the area to create housing solutions. The new facility was financed through loans from local banking institutions. Herman Green, TVJ News.
Before the break, it's time for our feedback responses, and Archie is at the smartboard.
Thanks, Lorraine. Here's our question this evening. We're asking, in light of reports that a gunman ran onto the campus of St. Jago High School today, how can we make schools safer? Shadeen Francis says, at this very moment, there's nowhere safe anymore. Only God can help our little island, Jamaica. Keneal Cole says, barring this unpredictable and unfortunate incident, schoolyards are too easily accessible. Proper perimeter fencing or walls need to be in place. Kimmy Elliott says, using our police officers to do regular patrols using unmarked vehicles and them wearing plain clothes. And Lattice says, have police patrol schools in volatile areas regularly. Keep your comments coming on Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/Television Jamaica, and the tweets to @Television Jam. News from overseas and business news after the break.